So let's go ahead and get rolling. A couple things first. We need to time and date stamp this. We are going to be going over some market information, some financial unemployment, GDP information. So if someone's watching this in a week and what we're saying today is completely ridiculous, that's why we want to time and date stamp this. So it is May 1st, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time. The other part is a very big thank you to Keeping Current Matters and everybody over there, Steve Harney and the crew. A lot of the research and the graphics are directly from them. The methodology that we're going to be talking about today, it's very simple. We're always looking for long-term and reliable resources for market information and the analysis as well as the science behind it. The logos in the lower right, those are just some of the resources that we're using. So this is not opinion. This isn't what I feel. No one cares what I feel. Everybody cares about numbers. All right. So the disclaimers up front, nobody can give you perfect advice. If anyone tries to do that or tells you they are, run from them and run quickly. Number 2, this is what we're seeing taking place in the real world. Number 3, this is what the science has to say. Based on all that, I'm going to give you the best advice that I possibly can. So let's sum up the housing market and go from there. Right? A recession does not equal a housing crisis. So based on what we know and what we see and what the science has to say, there's a few different things that are different now than they were in 2008. If you want the full in-depth explanation of this, last week we dug into it. First is months worth of inventory, right? We had 1.8 months worth of inventory. In 2007, we had 8.1 months worth of inventory. We were overbuilt. Appreciation rates today are well under 5-6%. In the 6 years leading into 2005, 2006, we were seeing appreciation rates in double digits. Number 3 is home equity, right? The few years leading into 2008, Americans cashed out something to the tune of $832 billion with a B in home equity to finance boats and vacations and jewelry and clothing and cars. The last 2 years leading into 2020, that number is around $232 billion. So roughly $500 billion with a B is still there. The average mortgage in the United States, I remember who this quote came from. I think it was Goldman Sachs. Or it was CoreLogic. $177,000 worth of equity. That's your average mortgage, right? Let's say that the market drops 25%, which is 5% more than what we saw in 2008. You still have $125,000, $130,000 worth of equity. Are you going to walk away from your house? Like, we don't need that 125 grand. People aren't, you're not going to see the short sales. You're not going to see the foreclosures. There's too much equity. Fourth one, mortgage credit availability index. Fancy term from the Mortgage Bankers Association. Basically, how easy is it to get a loan, right? So in 2006, a kindergarten teacher can walk into Bank of America, look a loan officer in the eye and say, I make $157,000 a year. I'd like to buy a $6 million house. The loan officer said, cool, sign here. We don't do that anymore, right? One of the questions that we're going to get to that was emailed in is what's going on with loans? What's going on with jumbo loans? What's going on with the percentage down, right? Let me put it to you this way. If you want to buy a house right now over $700,000, better call your banker. Might not have a loan that you had a month ago, all right? And we'll get more into that with the Q&A here in a minute. The last one is just simply the home value projections or predictions. I don't have the chart on here, but basically the appreciation rates that are being projected for 2021, 2022, and 2023 are higher now, post-COVID, than the projections before the coronavirus showed up, right? So with all of these reasons laid out for you, I don't think we're going to see anything close to what we saw in 2008. That being said, if we don't reopen the economy until August or September, different story, very different story, all right? So based on what we see, what we know, what the science has to say, again, we're seeing the housing market being positioned to lead the way out in Q3, Q4, all right? So last quote for you, this is a couple weeks old now, but I like it, and it's becoming more and more relevant. If policymakers, meaning politicians, federal, state, and local, manage to thread the needle between continued virus control and gradual reopening of the economy, the levels of GDP should begin to move higher in the months ahead. Those of you that have never tried threading a needle, give it a shot, and then let me know if you think that either the federal, state, or local government's going to do a very good job at that. It's not an easy thing to do.